time for small businesses. So let's take this time to be together.
All of us have a role to play. Make sure that you're providing as much kindness as possible.
Both Mr. Marriott and I will not be taking any salary for the balance of 2020.
Hello. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the National Association of Latino Healthcare Executives' first LinkedIn Live event. I am super excited, and I have a wonderful guest with me here today, Haley Roberto. She works at LinkedIn, and she is an expert on how we can leverage our LinkedIn and optimize our profile. And so we have a very fun, exciting, engaging event. And we're just so happy that we were able to partner with LinkedIn in this effort during Hispanic Heritage Month. Haley?
Awesome. Well, as a part of LinkedIn, I want to say thank you. Thank you for having us. And as to show our appreciation, one of the things that we want to call out throughout the event, those of you that are on LinkedIn Live, take a snapshot, right? And post it. In your post, you can do some really neat things like post a hashtag NALHE or hashtag healthcare. And we're gonna give away some free LinkedIn premium. So get excited about that. Great, so we're gonna jump right into things. I'm excited to be here. And I think if you wanna show my slides, I'm gonna make sure that everyone can see exactly what we have going on today. I'm your host, Haley Roberto. I've been at LinkedIn about 6 years, and in the time that I've been here, I've been focused on talent solutions. What that means is I help organizations attract and hire and retain qualified talent. It's been a passion of mine that, I love helping my healthcare customers. I have some of the largest healthcare organizations that I support in the United States. And we're gonna even give a couple shout outs to them in a little bit as well. On the agenda for today, just so that you know what we're gonna be covering, we'll keep it really conversational, but the conversations will be in the chat. So if you have questions, feel free to type those questions in the Q&A in the chat, and we'll have Q&A at the end. What we will be covering in today's session is an overview of LinkedIn, talking a little bit about who we are and what we do, the social media platform and what it is for healthcare. In particular, we'll go through some case studies and some best practices of healthcare organizations. I know a lot of you are in healthcare, of course, on the call, and may even be looking for talent leveraging LinkedIn. So we're going to talk about that. Then I have two very special guests, which I just showed you before, but I'll introduce you to both Deborah and Daffodil and their journey, right? Their journey on LinkedIn and what that looks like. And then finally, we'll go in depth into details of how you can maximize LinkedIn to leverage whatever it is you might be looking for. If it's a job or to network or to learn, there are so many things that you can do on the LinkedIn platform, and I'm happy to share those with you today. With that, we'll move right into the LinkedIn overview. So a little bit about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is all about you. It's your professional journey and your community. We are here to help you connect to opportunity. We don't get anywhere alone as LinkedIn. It's all about our members. It's about our community of people and how we help you be successful. After all, success is when you are in line for whatever it is that you might need. Success is who you connect with. Success is whatever it means to you, and we're here to help you do that.
I started off as an outsider, and in this industry, it really is about who you know.
The restaurant business is a tough business. I've been up here and I've been down here too.
It is hard to find your footing. So you need people that you're close to help guide you.
I think about how important it was for me to have the role models that I've had.
There have been a lot of friends and clients that have supported me, especially since I started my own practice.
I wasn't able to get there alone. He essentially plucked me out of obscurity.
He's the one who said, hey man, this is your life. This is what you need to do.
Nobody can do it alone. The more help you can get along the way, the faster you can achieve your goals.
I don't know, I enjoy the work enough that I get lost in it.
If I do anything in this life, I just want young people to feel empowered.
I'll just pursue my aviation goals, whatever it takes to get there. I'm in it to fly.
To help people achieve their dreams.
To tell stories that matter.
To celebrate good food.
I'm in it to speak for those who cannot.
Whatever you're in it for, we're in it together.
This video does an awesome job of really talking about some differences of the types of members we have on LinkedIn. You know, as a part of LinkedIn, we define our vision as our true north. It's our dream as a company, and it's what drives us every single day at LinkedIn. Our vision at LinkedIn is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. Our vision is followed closely behind by our mission. And our mission as overarching objective is it's something realizable and measurable and ideally inspirational, right? And this is ours. It's to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. They sound like extremely big missions and visions, but I'm happy to say that at LinkedIn, we've been doing exactly that. So how does LinkedIn create value for you? To answer that question, it can be summed up by our value prop, right? And our value prop is to connect to opportunity. That's what today's about. Is for you to learn about the opportunities that LinkedIn can provide to you and to your organization and to so many different elements that we have. So what does our footprint look like? We at LinkedIn have some extremely powerful data with 706 million members on our platform globally. And just to give you some perspective, since I've started at LinkedIn almost 6 years ago, we average 2 new members per second. I mean, that's mind-boggling. But if you think about the growth and where we're growing, one of our fastest growing demographics is students. We have a ton of students on our platform, over 90,000 schools that are a part of LinkedIn. We have 11 million jobs and 50 million companies. And what I'm most proud of in LinkedIn today especially is that for 3 years in a row by Business Insider, a third party, LinkedIn has been the single most trusted platform out there. Security is so important to our organization. And you're gonna see that today. We're gonna talk a little bit about privacy settings. Whenever I have these conversations with executives, the first thing they say is, I don't want to receive a ton of emails, or, you know, I don't want people just selling to me. I really want to get the most out of the platform. And we're going to talk about ways in which that you can really tweak and refine your settings so that you only have what you're looking for on the LinkedIn platform. So let's talk about healthcare on LinkedIn. And I can think of no better way to do this than to put a spotlight on one of my clients. And I know there's a lot of you on the line right now from Christus Health. And so I'm going to let them tell you for themselves a little bit about their journey on LinkedIn.
Christus Health is a Catholic, not-for-profit health system. Over 600 locations, 45,000 associates.
We recruit for all hospital positions, so anything from a nurse to lab assistants and clinical lab scientists.
7 years ago, there weren't a lot of healthcare clinicians on LinkedIn. Watching the growth of LinkedIn, the growth of membership, I knew that it was only a matter of time before healthcare would catch up.
The first time that I actually learned about LinkedIn Talent Insights, it said there's 2 million nurses on LinkedIn. Well, that kind of blew my mind. So LinkedIn for sure helps us engage with, medical professionals by showing us this is the opportunities that are available. This is the talent that's out there that has the skill sets that you're looking for. And again, it helps us to connect with those people to share those opportunities with them.
If we know that we have associates that are engaged on LinkedIn right now, the next best thing is LinkedIn Learning.
We have an ever-changing dynamic environment where there is an increasing need for a variety of different skills. Having access to that type of learning to keep up with the changing pace of the industry, I think is really important.
We're seeing higher engagement, especially from the nursing population. And now with Glenn, it's almost like we have this end-to-end solution with one partner.
With our engagement surveys, we're able to find what ultimately for Christus influences the engagement of our associates, and how can we work to really make sure that we focus on those across the system.
Talent is out there. We might have been an afterthought, but now with what LinkedIn has been able to do, partnering with us, they know who we are. We stand out to them.
We've seen a 6x increase in leads, 5x increase in applicants, and we've taken our followers from 2,500 to we're over 75,000. We have this awesome story to tell, and LinkedIn gave us that platform.
I just love the story of Christus and what they've done. And it gives me chills when I watch that video. I'm so proud of their team. And they have just come so far over the last 7 years and have been a trailblazer on LinkedIn. Ron said it himself, Ron Croy, the Chief Talent Officer of Christus. He knew healthcare would be on our platform, and I am here to tell you today, healthcare is on LinkedIn and active. We have in the US 2.3 million professionals with nursing skills. And as I mentioned before, nursing students, my goodness, they're on LinkedIn. 130,000 of them taking nursing courses today. 850,000 doctors. And one of the things that we focus on, I know I've been working with some of the folks from NALHE, and it's a lot of senior leaders that are a part of your organization. So for senior leaders, 311,000 healthcare senior leaders, that's director level plus, that are on the LinkedIn platform, and 188,000 organizations. So, one of the questions we get all the time is, are nurses, registered nurses, really a part of LinkedIn as well? And the answer is yes. I remember, about when I started working at LinkedIn 6 years ago, and the journey that you heard Ron and Chris's team take, it was maybe 30% of RNs that were on LinkedIn. And, as we've seen with what's happened in healthcare and more, the next generation of nurses coming in, we are really seeing an active RN population on the LinkedIn platform as well. So, I think it's awesome. That's what you're doing on the platform. And today we're really going to focus on all the extra things that you can do in addition. Now, we're in an interesting time, of course, post-COVID, and since March, I had our insights team dive into what is healthcare and the membership, what are we seeing happening on LinkedIn? And these statistics alone, you can see here that we have seen the healthcare membership communicating with one another, right? Over 22% increase of healthcare members sending messages to each other, checking in, right? Those email messages, reaching out. We've seen healthcare companies, their posts increase week over week, 39%. And then finally, one of my favorites, and you heard the Christus team talk about LinkedIn Learning, 135% increase in LinkedIn Learning courses taken by healthcare members. And so what does this mean? It means that we all of LinkedIn and our 706 million members, we recognize what's happening, and that healthcare has definitely taken, a lot of an impact with what's happened with COVID. And more and more, we're seeing people interacting on the LinkedIn platform. interacting with jobs. You can see here that critical jobs being posted have gone up on LinkedIn as well. Insights and perspectives from the front lines. And then finally, one of my favorites, I help lead an initiative during Nurses Week where all LinkedIn members, not just the ones in healthcare, but we're on this campaign to shout out praises for healthcare heroes. Hashtag healthcare heroes. If you look at it now, you'll see there's a ton of people, companies, organizations, schools, just sharing their love and support for all of the frontline workers during COVID. So thank you. Talking about LinkedIn learning courses, this is one thing that I think is really neat, right? When you have a LinkedIn Premium, you have access to LinkedIn Learning, some of the courses, not all of the courses, but some with LinkedIn Premium. Those organizations that have LinkedIn Learning, you can see some of the courses that we've seen senior leaders taking, especially since March, really understanding that they're learning on a regular basis. My favorite part about LinkedIn Learning is that if I need, for this presentation live, I needed a little bit of a refresher, I should say, on PowerPoint. And I went in and I took a 3-minute class, and it answered all the questions I had. You can see executives do this. They're learning about Excel, they're learning about InDesign, and they're doing it on the go. Right? Executives in healthcare are 32% more likely to learn on their mobile platform. That's also one of my favorite parts. Back when we were traveling, I would download a ton of the, the learning courses, and on the airplane, be able to just listen and learn while I was traveling to a destination. So that's a little bit about LinkedIn. It's a little bit about LinkedIn and healthcare, but I really want to introduce you to a few special guests. I had the privilege and the honor of getting to know two women professionals that I have grown to know and respect at different parts of their journey, right? Deborah Bonce, she just graduated with her MHA and MBA, and she's somebody that is very driven, very motivated, and she's looking for her next play. And then, of course, I'm going to introduce you as well to Daffodil Baez and her journey and what she's leveraged LinkedIn for throughout COVID. But first, let's introduce Deborah. Hello, Deborah. Welcome. Oh, Deborah, I can't hear you, but I can try to read your lips. It's not that good.
I'm sorry. Hi, Haley.
Hi.
Hello, LinkedIn viewers.
Yeah, welcome to LinkedIn Live. We're happy to have you here this evening. Deborah, tell us a little bit about you. I know you just graduated. Tell us a little bit about you and where you're currently at.
Yes, so as you mentioned, I am a current graduate from the University of Houston Clear Lake with my MHA and MBA, and I'm currently working at Houston Methodist West Hospital as an office coordinator. And I've just recently also helped co-found the Houston chapter for NALHE, Texas Gulf Coast. And I'm very passionate about helping others and building the bridge between the hospital and the community.
Fantastic. We need more people like you, Deborah. So Deborah, one of the things when you and I first met, we talked about LinkedIn and we talked about your profile. And one of the areas that I was talking you through was how to update your profile. On the screen here, this is, when we were updating together, but would you mind, kind of just talking a little bit about your experience, what you learned, what were some of the aha moments that you had?
Of course. From the tips and advice that you shared with me, it made it a very engaging experience. Prior to making the changes, I had no idea how to optimize my profile or what I needed to do. And as I went through the edits, I realized how much more my network and the recruiters out there would learn more about me. And my personal favorite part was learning about the hook statement. And as you mentioned, it's where a lot of us place our work title, but it's also a place where people can get to know more about us, a quick glimpse about us. So that was really fun because after finding that out, I went to various different profiles, and I was able to see everybody else's hook statements. And I'm really proud of the edits, since it's going to be able to also amplify my job search. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, you did a great job. I've never seen someone so fast when I need to do these edits. You did it in like no time at all. I would also like to maybe talk to you a little bit about, when you're on LinkedIn, and I know you're a premium member as well. What have you found to be helpful from a healthcare perspective, and what have you learned that way?
Yes, from the healthcare perspective, I've been able to open up my network even more. And now with post-COVID, I've been able to meet a lot more people, and I've been able to send direct messages even before before even having a connection with them. I've been able to amplify my network. I've also been able to expand my educational growth, as with the LinkedIn Premium, there's a lot of different courses that are offered for free, from operations to finance to management. So that's been really fun. And there are also courses about interviewing and how to maximize your interviewing skills.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been working on this past week. So that was really fun.
Awesome. Okay, Deborah, you're on a live stage, right? And you've got lots of people watching and viewing. And I got to tell you, I'm impressed with Deborah. Deborah, here's your chance. Tell the audience what you're looking for in your next job.
In my next challenge, what I'm currently looking for a project manager position, a manager in training position, or a project specialist position as well, just to continue to broaden my skills and my assets. And I'm a challenger, and I thrive through challenges, so I'm ready to take that next step.
Amazing. Deborah, have you met Daffodil?
Yes.
Well, we need to connect.
Okay.
Because I'm looking like you. UT is definitely hiring in several of those roles that you mentioned. So after we wrap up this call, let's you and I keep talking.
We'll do.
A connection made through LinkedIn Live. I love it. Awesome. Well, Deborah, I know you're going to come back on in a little bit. We're going to talk about Q&A. People might have questions for you. You might have a lot of other people fighting Daffodil to get your resume and get your profile. So thank you.
I got first dibs.
Thank you.
All right, great. So Daffodil, hello and welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi.
All of our friends on LinkedIn, and thank you for supporting NALHE. So excited about these Hispanic Heritage Month events.
Us too. Fantastic. Well, you are in a different stage of your career, right? At that executive level. And I really enjoyed our time together and learning a little bit about how you use the LinkedIn platform and what it does for you and your organization. Would you mind sharing, just a couple of tips and things that you have done on LinkedIn even lately?
Sure. So I found that LinkedIn, I've been active on LinkedIn since grad school. And so my network has grown organically over time. It's been mostly, those real face-to-face connections that I'm able to make throughout day-to-day work or at events or whatnot. And it's been fantastic to grow the network that way. And so what I've found is that I'm able to gather and learn information from what other folks in my network are posting. But in the same vein, I also share that information out because I know that I have a lot of folks similar to myself in my network or tangentially connected to healthcare that would find this information valuable. And so I utilize LinkedIn as my primary platform for disseminating information at a large scale that would take forever if I was trying to call, 500 friends on the phone. Right? Work. So during COVID, NALHE DFW was actually one of the organizations that was first raising our hands and saying, hey guys, we have a problem with the incidence of COVID rates in Black and Brown communities. And we started to bring we started to bring out data, right, and share that information so that we could disperse information as quickly as possible, both for the folks who were in healthcare so that they could influence how care was being delivered, but also for the folks who are outside of healthcare and just needed to be informed about what was going on.
That's fantastic. You know, I know you're not alone. So many people, as we mentioned before, in healthcare were sharing, but the fact that you were able to see something and to use the LinkedIn platform as your voice was fantastic, and I applaud you for that. And I hope you continue. I hope those of you on the line also take this tip from Daffodil and can also use the platform as your voice. Daffodil, what about, you know, at your organization? I know you mentioned you're looking for some people to come and fill some roles. Tell us a little bit about that. This is your time too, right? If you've got some openings, share those.
Sure. So, you know, in my current role, I'm part of a growing team. The campus that I oversee is growing rapidly, and so we are frequently in need of candidates to help fill positions as our team grows. And so I just post jobs out there in terms and say, hey, if you know someone, right, please send them my way. It can be tough these days. And, you know, it helps to connect the folks who I know are out there looking, and they're just looking for the right opportunity to match their skill set, their geographic location, what they're trying to attain next in their professional journey, right? We want to help facilitate those connections. And so that's why I post jobs. It's also why when I see someone in my network who's posted a job and I'm like, oh, I know so-and-so who would be great for that, forward them the link.
Make the connection. That's awesome. And I know so many recruiters that wish they had more hiring managers like you, by the way, you know, to push out these postings, because hiring managers pushing out a posting goes so far to your network and to people you're connected to, and it shows that you care. So that's fantastic. You know, for the viewers out there, Daffodil, in our time together, I was able to kind of give you a few tips and hints and tricks. Is there anything that you learned that you want to just share with everyone on the phone or on the line?
Yeah, so it was interesting to spend that time together, Haley, and I want to thank you again, you know, for giving me transparent and compassionate feedback. It's so funny because, you know, when I first joined LinkedIn on the platform, right, like fresh out of grad school, or still in grad school, finishing up, it was essentially, I merely saw it as the electronic equivalent of my CV, right? Now, I love it when you can find a position that you can like apply via LinkedIn. Best thing ever, right? Because I don't have to re-enter all of this information. But truly what I've found it to be is an actual expression of my professional brand, right? And so I'm able to show, one, it's more than just the 2-page resume that nobody is going to want to read through unless they're really trying to get to know you as a candidate. But it really allows people to realize, oh, she does this or she does that, or, you know, she has this hobby, she's in this other club, right? And so it really allows you to display who you are as a full person, not just, this is where I went to school, these are the jobs that I've had, and this is how long I've gone. So it's really allowed me to start crafting, or to continue crafting my professional brand to a much broader audience that's very easily available whenever someone does want to engage, and is always present, so I don't have to worry about it being lost in the bottom of a filing cabinet somewhere.
It won't get wrinkled up, I promise.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, Daffodil. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show. You will also be in the Q&A at the end, and so people can ask you questions. And we're going to now, if you guys haven't, connect with Daffodil, connect with Deborah, and look at their awesome profiles. Daffodil, I had very few things that I could point out that you needed to fix, because you have an awesome profile, and your activity that you do on LinkedIn is phenomenal. And so thank you for being a LinkedIn member. And we are actually going to go in and show you now how to create a profile like Daffodil's and Deborah's. So thank you, Daffodil.
Thank you, Haley.
All right. So let's talk about best practices on LinkedIn. And by the way, don't forget, throughout the time, chat in your questions for either Deborah, Daffodil, NALHE, myself, anyone that's been a part of the program. We're happy to answer your questions at the end. So let's talk a little bit about best practices on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, as Daffodil mentioned, she did such a great job of that. It's your digital portfolio. It's your digital portfolio that represents you, and it tells your professional story. Think of it as a kind of like less of a resume, as Daffodil said, and more as a dynamic digital portfolio that's engaging, right? People can engage with you. It's visual, and it highlights your experience and skills to help you build your professional presence. So let's kick it off. Let's start with, first and foremost, the first thing that you see when you look at somebody else's profile is the photo. And by the way, #1 activity on LinkedIn still today is looking at other people's profiles, right? It's connecting with one another. And the first thing they see is that picture. And so it's important. People ask me all the time, do I really need a picture? Do I need to make sure it's, you know, a professional headshot and spend a bunch of money? And the answer to that is no, you really don't. We want to just make sure that your picture represents you. It needs to be a professional headshot. I say to make sure it's just you in the screen, you know, not your dog or your cat or, you know, anything like that, but just a picture of you. And that it's also high resolution. We want to make sure it's good quality. But here's some tips, right? On each of these slides, I think it's important to know why, the why behind all of these different tips that we're giving you. If you have a professional profile and a picture on your profile, most people get 9x more connection requests, 21x more profile views, and 36x more messages. So make sure, don't be an avatar. So many people I see just have the avatar. Don't be an avatar, have a picture, represent who you are. Next, add your industry. I know people are like, oh my goodness, this just seems like a no-brainer, but you wouldn't believe how many folks and how many members don't have their industry. And so in healthcare, make sure that you have healthcare listed as your industry. And the reason behind that is because you will receive 9x more views on this one as well. And more than 300,000 people search by industry on LinkedIn every single week. So, you know, make sure that you check the box and have industry on there as well. Next, Daffodil said it really well, or I think it was actually Deborah that said it really well. Draft that compelling summary. You know, people ask me often about, do you have a professional bio? My professional bio is my summary. It tells about me, what makes me unique, what makes me different, what my passions are. And both Deborah and Daffodil have an amazing summary. If you need advice, check theirs. Keep it short, sweet, and simple. You don't need to list your career accomplishments here. This is not a place for putting your resume. I've seen people try to copy and paste their resume in here. Don't do that. This is just a summary, but it truly does. It's your voice and it's your elevator pitch, right? So what is it about you that makes you unique? And then this is where we start building out kind of what we see as our resume, right? This is your detailed work experience. Your experience is your opportunity to tell all about your professional story and to talk about your accomplishments. You know, showcase your experience, write out specifics on what you've done in each of your roles. Whenever somebody's looking for a new career and they reach out to me, and the first thing I look at on their resume, they only had their company name and their title and the years that they worked there, and that's it. I'm like, oh, you got to share so much more. Because I tell you guys, I sat down so many times with healthcare organizations and the recruiters that are looking for people like you. And when we help them look on the back end for folks like you, they're typing in keywords that would be a part of what you would have in your work experience. You know, what are those skills that you've done? What specific duties did you have? What accomplishments did you have that made a difference? And then my favorite part of work experience, we now have the ability to have rich media, such as a photo, a video, a presentation, anything that you have that visually enhances your profile, and it's going to make it more dynamic. So keep in mind on this, by the way, a lot of times people are like, oh, I don't own, this video. That's okay. If you go to my profile, one of the things I'm proud of is the Christus, presentation that I showed you earlier, that video, because I work with Christus. They're my client, and I absolutely love working with them, and I love sharing that story. So make sure that you share a part of what your company's doing, what you're proud of, and add that rich media to your LinkedIn profile. Step number 6, add volunteer experience. I was a part of a meeting and a presentation with a high-level executive in the healthcare industry. And he said to me, I'll never forget this, he said to me, you know, Haley, when I am looking for nurses, the first thing I do is I go and look and see if they have volunteer experience. And I was like, volunteer experience? You're kidding me. And he said, it's who nurses are. Nurses have it in them, the desire and the passion to want to volunteer and to give back. And I was like, oh, that makes total sense. You know, I have nurses in my family, and they're also people that volunteer and give back. And so make sure that you add your volunteer experience. When Deborah and I were updating her profile, one of the things that she noticed when she was entering in her volunteer experience, and if you saw this on the video when we were talking through it, make sure you look for the drop down. Here on Wish Grantor, when you type in Wish Grantor, when you're editing it, make sure you look for their logo and select that. Otherwise, you'll kind of just have an ugly gray box. We don't want those. So in order to get those logos, type in your experience, type in the title, look for the logo, and click that one. And it also, when anyone's looking at your profile, if they click on those logos, they'll go directly to, on this, volunteer nurse, right? And they'll go to that company page, which helps your organizations that you're volunteering for. Step 7, add skills and get endorsed. Okay, and if I had show of hands right now, I'm just trusting that if you're sitting there and you're watching this live, you would say, oh my goodness, how do people endorse me for skills that I don't even know what they are? You control the endorsements and the skills that you have. When you're on your LinkedIn profile, if you click on that little pencil at the top right-hand corner, you add the skills. So add the skills that you want to show up. You can pin some to the top as well. But members who add 5 or more skills receive up to 17x more profile views. And then it'll automatically go to people that you are a part of your network, and it'll ask, would you like to endorse Deborah for XYZ skill? And start getting those endorsements. Skill sets on our platform, there are a lot. So make sure you look at them and add skills to your profile. And then step number 8, request a recommendation. If you're in a type of position where you're looking for a role, the best way to get a recommendation is to give one, right? So if you know somebody, always give one as well. I think it goes far. And when people look at your profile, they'll see how many you received, but also how many you've given. A lot of executives that I talk to, and especially even C-suite executives, we encourage you to leverage this as a part of your review process. Something that goes so far for employment brand is if you gave a great review to an employee and you're comfortable making a public recommendation on their profile, that goes far, I promise you. And so, this is one thing that, if you're a leader, a hiring manager, a part of an organization, don't forget to recognize those employees that mean so much to you. And then finally, you can see on here, when you are writing a recommendation, one thing that I recommend, when you are requesting a recommendation, one thing I recommend is to give a few bullet points of what you want those people, the person recommending you, to say. Kind of customize it. Let them know specifically like a project you work on or an initiative you led together. Make sure that you're asking senior level leaders as well. So recommendations, super important. And then last but not least on this, just those tips. Don't forget about location, where you live, the location, the geographical region, the education, and once again, click on when you're typing in your school name that you went to, look for that logo. Any publications that you've had. Deborah did a great job of recognizing that languages was on there. And so she entered in that she's also a native speaking Spanish speaker. So make sure you have that as well. And then finally, accomplishments, right? That's on there. So there's a lot of different tabs that you have when you're building out your profile. We do a great job of kind of recommending that for you. So now that we've talked a little bit about your profile specifically, let's move into what you can do on LinkedIn. Building thought leadership. Your voice on the LinkedIn platform is so important. Daffodil does an awesome job of this by sharing updates, right? She mentioned about during COVID, how NALHE was one of the very first people to recognize things that were happening in your community and sharing that on LinkedIn. You can do this in two different ways, through either updates or publishing posts. So let's dive into updates first. Updates, super easy to start sharing an update. Go to your home tab here and you can enter in the top bar, just start typing and it'll say, what would you like to talk about? That's where you type your update. It's really easy. My other favorite part is if you have a link and you copy and paste the link in your update, it'll automatically show up a little image of the link that you're posting. And you can then delete the link and just have the image and people can click on it and go to the link itself. Hashtags, share hashtags. Don't forget, one of the things, if you take a picture during this event, make sure it's a picture where I don't look bad and not doing something funny, but maybe smiling. A flattering photo would be nice, but take a photo of the event and post the hashtags, hashtag NALHE-DFW, hashtag healthcare, and enter a chance to win some LinkedIn free premium memberships. Shout out to the LinkedIn Talent Solutions reps that work in healthcare. They are the ones that donated those free LinkedIn premium memberships. So thank you for that. So share updates. And when you do share updates, here's some best practices. Oops, it went right through it. I guess you don't get those best practices. Best practice number one, share your authentic voice. On the platform, Daffodil does a great job of this. Talking about what's important to you. Be authentic, stay on brand, and show up consistently. I think that's really important. If you're gonna share often. Once again, post frequently. We talked about that before. Start a conversation or share your point of view. Another thing that you can do is you can comment on somebody that shared and share their comment again. That's an easy way to get started. If you see somebody that posted something really great, there's a little button where you can look at their post and hit share and talk a little bit about what your point of view is on that specific post. Include rich media. This is really, really important. I spoke to you before about you can copy and paste a link. You can also put a picture in there. You can put a video. And for some of you, you can actually go live on LinkedIn, right? And that's in beta. It's going out to more and more members. But that's one thing that you have the ability to be a part of 706 million people globally and to share your voice. And then finally, create an opportunity for reciprocity. Being a part of this, COVID and what's happening in healthcare and just Daffodil and what she's done, it's really, truly giving back. And so LinkedIn, we believe in that. You heard about our vision and our mission. It's all part of who we are. And so, sharing jobs, sharing what that's what we want on our platform. Next, let's talk about publishing. Publishing on LinkedIn is a little bit different. So if you start with the baby steps of the updates, and then you're ready to go into a publishing platform, this becomes part of your profile, and it gets shared with your entire network. It's going to reach the largest group of professionals. And what I will tell you, when you do this, you have so much more access to the back-end data, which is great. So from an executive standpoint, I also think it's something that goes really, really far. And we'll talk about some best practices and who we see as being influencers in the healthcare community. The same way, you start on your homepage, and it will say, write an article. You'll see that right here, write an article on LinkedIn. You would click on that. And then best practices here, make sure you create a headline that captures attention. Be a little catchy, and something that if you were in the, in the middle of your workday and on your LinkedIn app on your phone, something that would catch your attention, think of it that way. Include a photo, always include a photo. That's really, really important, especially in the publishing side of LinkedIn. And then also be authentic. Have your authentic voice. You'll hear that time and time again, but it's really, really important to also think about the audience that you're speaking to. Who is in your network? What are you trying to say? And what are you trying to get across? And then finally, article length makes a big difference. We recommend that the sweet spot for the length of publishing is about 600 to 1,000 words. Try to stay right in there. And we promise, then when you have viewers, you're gonna start to see some data and some analytics on the back end. So you can see, who is it that's clicking, who's engaging, who's sharing, and where do they work? What are their organizations? Where do they live? You'll see a lot of data and analytics. And this is what gets really fun. The next time you post, you can kind of keep up with, am I reaching more people? Am I engaging with the right audience? Don't forget to put those questions in the live chat, and we'll get those answered at the end. All right, let's move on to gaining knowledge and insights. These are some tips that I think go a little bit further than just, all right, I've got my professional brand on LinkedIn and I'm sharing and I'm updating, but this is going the next step. If you are a healthcare executive that really wants to go the next step and understand how to maximize LinkedIn, these are the tips that you should definitely be tuning everything else out and focusing in on. First, follow companies. I have to give a shout out to Christus. My Christus folks that are on the line, you definitely got some branding here, but Christus, you can follow company pages. Please go out and follow all the company pages. You're automatically a follower of your own company. I don't know if you knew that, but whoever you're working for, you're automatically a follower of them. But follow companies that interest you. If you're a follower, you are going to automatically receive in your newsfeed on your homepage news that company posts. If they've got events, things going on, you will see that in your newsfeed, and you don't have to remember to go and look at companies, but following gives you access to those stories. And this is all about customizing your experience on LinkedIn. Next, follow influencers. This is the 2020 top healthcare voices that we just launched. I think it was back in March or April. But these are people that are active on LinkedIn and they are engaging with their followers. So these are phenomenal people to follow in the healthcare space and to learn from. They are always on top of key trends, topics, insights, and they'll provide, a wealth of knowledge in your industry. So I would recommend, and we'll have, maybe we could put these up in the live chat after some of the links to these profiles, but these are people that won the top voices of healthcare in 2020. And then finally, join a group. NALHE DFW chapter, special shout out. When you follow a group, go in. Groups are either public or private. It depends upon how they set them. And in this one, this is a private group. You go to request to join, and then they'll accept you into the group. And you can get news, right? It'll come into your news feed. You'll learn what's going on. You can have access to really awesome live events on LinkedIn like this one. But feel free to join as many groups as you want. There's fantastic groups like the American Hospital Association. There's some phenomenal nursing groups out there, physician groups, healthcare executive groups. And the way to find them is to go into the top of your search bar. This is actually searching for posts, but it would look very similar on your homepage. And just type in a group you might be interested in, and you can select the drop down of groups, and you can search. There's a lot of groups on LinkedIn. So please join groups. That's a great way to stay connected and to get engaged. Next, customize your feed. I've heard a ton of speeches from our CEO and our chief legal officer about how important it is that we have security and privacy on LinkedIn, and it is very important to us. It's why we win awards. It's why we're the safest platform that there is. But we want you to get the most out of what you're doing on the LinkedIn platform. And so in order to do that, there's a couple different ways. Number one, when you're in your feed, and you see something that you're like, this isn't something I necessarily want to see. If you click on these three little dots right here and drop down, it gives you a lot of options where you can improve your feed. If you see a post that isn't one that you think is legit, report the post. That's really important to us as well. We want to make sure that only legitimate posts are being made on our platform. And then you can hide posts. It'll ask you some questions. Why did you want to hide this? Was it something that you didn't care about seeing? I promise you, when you do that, it goes into our algorithm and our machine learning on the back end. And it's going to make sure and recognize what you want to see and start serving you up more quality content. So take the time and make sure and tell the system what you do and don't want to see. And then this is one that I get all the time as well from senior level leaders, is how do I really understand how private LinkedIn is? And what can I customize my privacy? And the answer is yes. The way you want to do that is by going into the top right-hand corner. You'll see a little picture of yourself. Click on that, go to settings and privacy. And there are a lot of tabs, but some that we think that you should look at in particular, are the ones under privacy and the one under communications, which talks about how often do you want to see things from us? Do you want to receive job alerts, different things of that nature? So go in there, check that out, and make sure that you have the right settings for you. And then finally, Daffodil. This is one that you and I talked about, Daffodil Bias. Is there a way that I see on some people they have follow instead of connect? And I don't want to receive all these connection requests, right? You can change this. If you go to your privacy settings again, go to visibility right here. Down at the bottom, there's followers. And click this, make follow primary to yes. And then people can just automatically follow you instead of sending you connection requests. They're still able to send you the connection requests, but it's just following as primary, so you won't receive as many. And I would recommend, if you want to turn this on, check it out. It's right there for you. And you can definitely turn it off if you want to as well. On the LinkedIn platform, we want you to be connected. We want you to build and engage a vibrant community on a global scale. We want you to keep up with your connections and all the updates that they're sharing, their news, interact with them on a personal level. We recommend that you do this and to truly build out who you want to see information from. And engage with your colleagues and peers. These are two posts that those influencers had shared, the healthcare and voices, top healthcare voices had shared during COVID, some of the things that were happening to them. If you were a follower of Tom Friedman, you would actually see some of the things that he was posting when it came to COVID, as well as Jennifer Joe here. And Jennifer, one of the things that I noticed that she had done in here was posting an article that she felt so passionate about. And you can go and you can see the entire article here that she shared out with her network. We talked about it before, but thought leadership is one of the best ways to showcase your experience and to establish yourself as an influencer in your industry. LinkedIn is really, truly uniquely positioned to help you grow your influence as a thought leader and to increase public trust in you and your organization. So truly, this is how top executives do it. These are the things that I talk to executives at scale about, but to make sure that you share your point of view. And these are the reasons why. You know, it truly, business leaders are saying that thought leadership enhances a brand's reputation by 89%. So make sure you use this platform to share your story, be influential, and to build credibility in your organization as well as in yourself. So those are your tips, how to maximize the platform, how to get the most out of LinkedIn. And now I want to share with you some news. We are announcing, this is one of the first times we're announcing that we've made a little update. Some of you may have noticed this for nurses as well as other frontline members on LinkedIn. It's not for everyone, but you're going to see exactly why in just a moment. What we want to do is we want to make sure that nurses, frontline members, and others, we're making your lives easier. If you are interested in an opportunity, we want you to be able to share exactly what you're looking for. And for some nurses as well as other frontline members, it's been hard in the past to tell, you know, which shifts you're looking for or how far you're willing to commute, because LinkedIn wasn't really set up that way. Well, now we are, and this is in beta, and I'm happy to share that those of you that are in a nursing role, you can go onto LinkedIn and it'll say, share what would make you want to take a new job and get recruited, right? Then it's going to prompt you with some easy steps to say, I need the right pay. What is that pay that you're looking for? I'm looking for specific benefits. Click on the plus. What are those benefits you're looking for? Here's how far I'm willing to commute, right? And then these are the schedules that I want. How awesome is this? Especially for nurses. If you're looking for a particular schedule of hours, here's how to do it. This will then prompt the healthcare organizations that are a part of LinkedIn from a talent solution side to say, here's XYZ nurse, she's looking for these hours and it matches what you're looking for, so that we can make those connections easier at scale. And this is just an overview. With these easy steps, it's truly going to make a difference. And I'm excited to say this is in beta. And for those of you that are a nurse or a frontline worker, go in and check it out today. Another thing that I get a question of a lot is I've seen these green banners on people's profile pictures, right? Open to work. That's new. You know, we know that so many people have been impacted either by COVID, other situations, and are looking for an opportunity. And they're a part of LinkedIn and they want their network to know. And so we have these easy steps. I actually just posted some screenshots here to make it really, really simple. When you're on your profile, go to Add Profile section and scroll down to Looking for a New Job. It's going to then prompt you what kinds of jobs are you looking for, the titles, the roles, the full-time, part-time, remote, lots of different things. There's several on there. And then it's going to say, share with all LinkedIn members, which will then put the banner on your picture, open to work, or just share with recruiters. And when you share only with recruiters, it's only going to recruiters that are not at your current organization. And you won't have the banner on your profile. It'll just be behind the scenes and more confidential. And then you add it to your profile and off it goes. So this is an awesome new badge that we have just rolled out in the last several months. And it's been able to help a lot of members find work in a more fast and reliable way. So now, just to wrap up, I know that Tiffany's going to come on here and talk a little bit about the questions that we've received from the chat. Some key takeaways, invest the time to develop your professional brand. Make sure that you have a picture. Make sure that you are using your authentic voice and being a thought leader in your industry. And update your profile to reflect the needs that you're either exploring, opportunities, or whatever it is that you're hoping to achieve. So Tiffany, welcome to live event.
This has been so helpful, Haley. For those joining us, I just want to say welcome and thank you so much for joining us. Here we are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and we are just so excited to see the representation that we have online and the engagement through the comments. We need Hispanics and Latinos, Latinas, Latinx in healthcare, and we need them in leadership roles. We need them in nursing roles. We need them in physician roles. We need them in governance boards. We need them everywhere. And so I just want to thank you for your engagement. Tiffany Capellas, I am your education chair at the NALHE DFW chapter, and I enjoy this work because we believe in connecting people, and we hope that you capitalize on this opportunity today. I want to encourage you, if you haven't posted already, to go ahead and take a snip of a picture today, make a post. You see a banner going along the bottom. If you do, and share it on LinkedIn, we are going to be doing a drawing for who is going to get access to a premium membership. So don't delay. Make sure you do that because we want to make sure that we are able to do that drawing for you here today. All right.
Awesome.
So I'm going to start with some questions for you, Haley.
Oh boy. Okay.
And for those who haven't had a chance to post their questions yet, know that you can do so still. I am watching the chat, and I will incorporate those questions into our discussion today. Your questions can be either for Haley directly, or they can be for Daffodil or for Deborah. So Haley, I'm going to start with you. So I'm thinking about this notion of quantity versus quality. Do recruiters look at the number of connections that you have? Or is it truly, do you build your network to really have more exposure, and it's more about the quantity, not so much the quality? So tell me.
Yeah, it's a good question. Every recruiter does things differently. Let's start there, right? And I would say that you should connect. What we recommend is you only connect with people you know. I think our limit is 30,000 connections. When somebody gets above 30,000, we're like, do you really know 30,000 people, right? But there are people that have asked to have more than 30,000. But what we would say is that, connect with people that you feel like are doing those things we talked about throughout. They're being a thought leader. They're influential. You want to hear what they have to say and be that back to them, reciprocate. Right? What recruiters look for is what you're doing, your story, and what's on your LinkedIn profile. What you're doing on the platform does play into that. So keep that in mind. We have, an algorithm on the back end that looks at some of the things that you're doing and serves you up to recruiters that are looking for somebody that matches your background and expertise.
Great. Thank you. All right. I got another question for you, Haley. How often do you recommend, if at all, updating your profile picture?
Ooh, that's a really good one. So I've had some interesting comments with different folks at LinkedIn about this. Some people think you should update it every year. I have seen some people that don't look anything like their profile picture anymore. It's not Match.com, but hey, we have a current photo. I would just say, every few years, I think it's a good rule of thumb. If you change your hair color or something, I think, people want to see who you are. So I would just say every several years, just make sure it's current enough and fresh enough, and that it shows who you are. Right? If you're a nurse and maybe you go back to school and you get your MBA and now you're a professional, you don't want to be in your scrubs. You want to have more of a professional setting.
That's great. That's great feedback and advice. All right. Another question for Daffodil. Daffodil, After today's session, we've gotten a lot of tips, a lot of great information. What would you think about doing to update your profile after today?
Yeah, so thank you, Haley, for all of those tips, because you've definitely given me more homework. So I'm going to for sure go back and try to incorporate some of the media. And I would actually like to highlight that point specifically for our folks who are NALHE members, because y'all know we have events and some of you participate in them, and we have video footage afterwards. And what better way to highlight how awesome you are than to add that to your LinkedIn profile? So I'm gonna try to go figure something out there. But the other thing actually is I'm really excited to go and leave more recommendations for my team, like to go endorse them for more skills and to give them more shout outs and whatnot. We tend to, when you're in a leadership position, you tend to do a lot of that positive reinforcement within your organization and when you're on site in the job. But I really like the fact that now you can amplify that and really stand behind your seal of approval behind someone who's really a fantastic team member. So I am going to be intentional about doing some more of that activity.
That's great. That's important. Thank you. I think that's something we all need to do. So I'm adding that to my to-do list as well.
Yeah.
All right. Another question for you, Haley. There was a comment that you made about article posts. It shouldn't be more than 600 to 1,000 words. That's for an article. For an actual post itself, we know that there's a max, but what is the sweet spot, so to speak, for the posts? What would you recommend for a general post, the word count?
It's another good one. I like you're giving me a lot of stumpers, Tiffany. The first thing I would say is if you're just sharing something, if you're sharing a link and then you have, the picture, the snapshot of the link, you're only going to get a few lines and it'll give you a preview, right? You're only going to get a few lines in everyone's update posts in their on their homepage. If you're just writing something. So the other day I wrote a CEO at a company that I one of my clients, and he's awesome. Actually, go follow him. His name is Eric Carlton. Oh my goodness, completely, totally just spaced out on his name. Anyway, go follow the CEO of Dish Network. He's awesome. But anyway, so if you go on there, you'll notice that I posted about him. And I just wrote, I was so proud of him for becoming an influencer. And that's all I wrote. I didn't put a link. I just wrote that. And I had like maybe 4 or 5 sentences. And so I think that's good. And now I have to go find his name and say it because I feel terrible and I just totally blanked on it. And I know who he is, but I'm going to go look for that right now. But that's what I would recommend.
Okay, great. And so how often do you think it's necessary to post? Or is it really just only post if you have something good and important worth sharing?
Sorry, I was on mute there. Yes, I think so. Rule of thumb to start every week, right? Post every week. I also recommend setting a calendar alert to make a post. It's a good tip. It's Eric Carlson, by the way. I was right. My brain was right there. Eric Carlson from Dish. He's awesome. But anyway, so once a week, some people post daily, and I think that's awesome. If you want to become an influencer, I get this question a lot. How do I become an influencer? Interact, engage, share your authentic voice, share things that are relevant in your industry, what's happening, make a difference, right? Those are the types of things you need to do. And I recommend if you're really trying to hit influencer status, to post, twice a week, 3 times a week at least at scale.
Okay, great. And so now between comment and an original post, that's another one.
Oh, I definitely recommend commenting, to kind of share camaraderie, right? In your industry, with NALHE, right? Little posts here and there. If you share some of your events on NALHE, write about it, share that out to your network. That's awesome. And so sharing is a little bit different. Just commenting is definitely the easiest way to get started, but having updates at least once a week.
Okay.
I don't know, Daffodil, Deborah, what do you guys think?
I completely agree. And I really like that tip. If you really want to hit that influencer status, to continue to engage and post of what you're doing, what you're passionate about. And I think that will really let people know more about yourself and what you're really looking for.
Great. Great. So are there any do's and don'ts? And this I'm going to open up to Deborah and Daffodil around comments. And Haley, feel free to chime in as well around posting and comments, or even just a post in general.
Well, I'll actually go with one of my pet peeves, which I was telling Haley about, which is when I receive connection requests from someone and I don't know them from Adam or Eve, and there is no intro, there's no message, it's just a plain connection request. To me, that comes across as, okay, you're either trying to sell me something or you're just trying to build like your network, but like, give me something to work on. Tell me that we have something in common. For all we know, just like Deborah and I connected, we might actually have something really tangible to talk about. So that's kind of my number one. When you send a connection invite, at least introduce yourself and say, hey, this is why I think we should connect.
Yes. Yes.
I will agree with what Daffodil has mentioned. I've received a few requests here and there, and there is no type of linkage, and then I'll receive a message through my inbox about something completely random. And so I agree.
I think it's the opposite of some of my tips. Don't be fake, right? Don't share fake news. We don't put up with fake news, not on LinkedIn. And make sure that, you are saying something that you want to read. That's a tip that I like to say as well. If you would like to read it, then share it, right? If it's something that you don't want to read or that you wouldn't look at as an update, then, just don't share those things.
Great. I see a question coming through as well around your resume. Do you recommend posting your actual resume in addition to adding the experience in the work section? That's a one that I've gotten a lot.
Okay, so my answer to that question is no, because your LinkedIn profile should have everything that your resume would have anyway. And as Daffodil mentioned, thank you for mentioning this, Daffodil, so many different companies now, when you go to their site to fill out a job, it'll say, would you like to use your LinkedIn profile? How amazing is that, right? Apply with LinkedIn. So definitely, your LinkedIn profile has everything that you should need. And so my answer is no. However, I think that, it's kind of personal preference, but I would say, no, it's not needed.
Okay, great. So there's, on that same note, there's a question around special projects and task forces as individuals are looking to maybe pivot in their careers and they want to highlight, maybe they were pulled to a special task force within their organization and they want to draw upon that experience. It was a year-long experience and they had a really robust role in that, and they want to highlight that, or even in their community. I may be answering my own question, and I don't know if it matters with either the community or versus internal within your organization. How and where do they do that within their profile?
So awesome question. Go to my profile. I actually was a part of this group that led what's called Recruiting for Good. When COVID hit, LinkedIn quickly took action and helped healthcare organizations find and hire frontline workers. And that Recruiting for Good is something that I have under my in my LinkedIn profile, under my work experience as LinkedIn, and it's part of the projects that I've done. So that's the way I would do it. If it was like you did a lot with the Red Cross, that we would say put it under the volunteer experience and add some meat to it, right? What did you do? Tell about the experience that you had and the difference that you helped make. Add that within the volunteer. But quick, easy tip is just to go to my profile and you'll see that on there.
Great, great. There was a feature that you talked about, the follow versus the connect, and adding that follow if you get a lot of requests. Does that disable the connection feature?
It does not.
Okay.
Yes.
It allows. So is there a way that one shows more value versus the other in terms of gaining influence or building your network?
So following is more for people that get a lot of requests and don't want to have to go in and accept them, right? And just people can follow you and they're not necessarily a connection of yours. That's why we still have both on there. And to find the connection request, you would have to like actually go to a drop down and it's a little bit harder to find. I have turned on follower on mine and my connection requests have gone down dramatically, but I still have a huge network that I can reach out to. Right? So you still can interact and engage with that network. For executives, 9 times out of 10, I hear executives that want to do the follow button, but it's completely and totally up to you.
Great, great. And as a reminder for those on the line with us, I just want to remind you, make sure you post about today's event. We are going to be doing a drawing. And my question is about premium membership, since we are offering, thank you to LinkedIn, we are offering premium memberships to those who are posting. I want to ask how to maximize your premium membership. What is the best way to maximize that?
I'm going to turn it over to Deborah. Deborah has premium. She's been using premium for the last couple weeks here. Deborah, what are your tips?
My tips would be to go into, for my personal opinion, from my standpoint as a recent graduate, to go into the learning courses and really try to maximize your field and what you feel you need to continue to learn more about. And my current situation post-COVID, it was a little bit more dry in trying to get hired because of COVID. And so I wanted to continue to learn. So I was able to take a few of the courses, continue to expand my education through operations management. And as I mentioned earlier, with interviewing skills, what to do and what not to do. So that's been a really great project. And I've also been able to see the new updated LinkedIn, the new features. And as a premium member, you're able to get first access to the new things that LinkedIn continues to build.
Awesome. Those are great tips. Great tips. It gives you so much more ability to see, especially in the job search, you versus the other people that might be applying, where you would rank, how qualified you are. There's just it's a world of knowledge that's waiting for you in premium. And once again, shout out to the amazing healthcare LinkedIn Talent Solutions reps that donated these 5 free 6-month LinkedIn premium memberships. And so I just want to, call that out, that they are in it to help this community to grow and to thrive.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, another question is around getting access to or increasing the access that recruiters have to us as Latinos in healthcare. So does your premium membership have an algorithm that elevates the visibility of premium members for recruiters? Can you explain how that works?
No. So it wouldn't be that. It's not that if you're premium, you're going to have more access. I don't want to, have that notion out there. But it's more about your experience on the platform. We, myself included, work with organizations such as Christus Health to make sure that we look for individuals who match the culture and mission and vision of what they're trying to achieve, right? And so all of the organizations that are part of LinkedIn Talent Solutions, they have a relationship manager that partners with them to help them find that talent. We look at organizations like NALHE, right? We look for what you're doing. So it's your voice. It's what Daffodil said, share in your work experience that, rich media and content that tells that you're a Latina healthcare executive and some of the amazing work that you've done. That's what we're looking for. And that's what I help my organizations try to find.
That's incredibly helpful. We have a question that came through on one of your slides around showing where to show the recommendations. And I don't know if that's something that you can pull up in your slide deck.
Oh, you're going to test me now. All right, let me see. One moment. Oh, and I see a comment that somebody had asked if you have to have 20,000 connections to turn on the follower button. That's not true. You can have access to turn on the follower button no matter what. Okay, I am going to do this here. This is fun. Okay, I think I've got it, and I'm going to share my screen, maybe. Let's see here. You're really testing me here. And remember to keep posting comments and questions. We will be able to answer them for you.
Use your NALHE DFW hashtag.
Yes.
And hashtag healthcare as well.
Yes, please. Okay, now what was the question again? Here's the recommendations. Is it specific to where they're at or?
Yes, where are they at? And if you could just kind of walk us through how to access that portion.
Yeah, so when you're in your LinkedIn profile and you're looking at all the different sections of your profile, you might not have recommendations on there. It might be closed, right? It's not open because you don't have any showing. So it'd be a little tiny line that would say recommendations. You would then click on this pencil right here and you would ask for a recommendation. And so when you click ask for a recommendation, you'll say, who do you want to recommend or get a recommendation from? And I would say, I want a recommendation from Daffodil. So I would select Daffodil's name and then I would say, hey, Daffodil, would you mind recommending me for being a presenter on LinkedIn Live? We partnered together and did this event and talk a little bit about hosting and so forth and so on. I'm really riffing here. This is fun. But anyway, and so then I would hit send. It would go to Daffodil. She would look at it. Then Daffodil would write a recommendation if she wanted to, send it over to me. I then have the ability to approve it, right? So before it just goes up onto my profile, I'll then be able to approve what Daffodil wrote. And then you would see it under my recommendations received.
Great. Great. Thank you.
No pressure, Daffodil. No pressure.
All right. So I have a question around the hook statement.
Mm-hmm.
Is the hook statement more important than your current title?
Okay. I'm actually going to pull up Daffodil's. So on Daffodil's profile itself, you'll see here on the screen now, she has at the top here, Assistant Director of Clinical Operations at UT Southwestern Medical Center. Shout out to UT Southwestern as well. Got to make sure and give shout outs here. And so this actually is what you can change to be a hook statement, something about you. This is what Deborah and I talk about. We go back and forth. So there's a couple kind of thought processes around this. What LinkedIn's official message is that, yeah, we want you to write like something kind of catchy about you. If you look at mine, I think it says that, I love helping connect, professionals to their next career of their dreams or something, right? So you can change that. Executives, if you go back to, Ron Croy, he is the Chief Talent Officer of Christus Health. He has his title there. And I think that's great, right? I think from an executive standpoint, titles is perfect there. If you're looking for a job, It used to be we didn't have the little open to work banner on the profile picture, so a lot of people put hashtag I'm open to work, right? But Deborah has an awesome one. Let me actually go back and see if I can here. Maybe it'll play. So Deborah wanted a different headline. She was like, yep, I got a headline here. So she changed her headline to Building the Bridge for Patients and the Community. Awesome headline, right? That's fantastic. It's totally and completely up to you and to your preference. But yeah, it will show up right there. And a lot of people used to think it was just title, but you can do whatever you want. And a lot of times I'll get the question, well, what if a recruiter searching for me? Will they not see my title? And our recruiter system on the back end, it goes and looks for title within your actual job descriptions and your work experience. So don't worry about that. Oh, Tiffany, I think you're on mute.
There we go. Thank you. So I missed a question earlier, and I just want to thank you for reposting the question again. And the question is, at one point, I had a link that showed me how strong my profile is. Do you have that link?
I know what you're talking about. You've been on LinkedIn a while, and thank you for that. So LinkedIn, we're constantly changing and updating and improving based upon member feedback. And so one of the things that when you are building out your profile, whoever this user is might have a really awesome profile now. And when you're building it out at the top, it'll say, ooh, how far out is your profile built? Is it 90%? Is it all-star? And so it used to be something that you would have a link to. Now, as you're building and updating your profile, it should be in that top right-hand corner, and you would have access to that. Great question.
Great. So as my final just close out, what is a major takeaway that you have for today? I'm going to start with Deborah and then Daffodil, and then Haley, if you can close this out with your major takeaway or maybe action step for us as Latino leaders as we close out.
Yes, one of my major takeaways from today's session is to engage more. I do like to share a different post of what other people share, but I never really take that time to type at least 3 sentences of what I've read or what I want others to be impacted about. So I think that will really help to show others of what I'm passionate about and what's actually going on as well.
For myself, I would have to just underscore the power of the platform to tell your brand story. None of us are who we were 3 years ago, 5 years ago, right? Healthcare itself changes so quickly, and we adapt as we become more proficient leaders in this area. And so the ability for you to be able to tell that story on a large scale with, quite frankly, relatively minimal effort, right? I mean, think about the amount of networking that you would have had to do in the past in order to be able to get to the number of folks and followers that you can get to today.
Yeah.
That's really what has impressed me about what I see on the LinkedIn platform. And I really want to say thank you to Haley for being so generous and sharing knowledge with us.
Oh, thank you. Awesome. I would just say, NALHE, you are doing awesome. I wish more organizations were doing what you're doing. And so my takeaway is, do not forget to join the NALHE group. There's 2 groups, the National Association of Latino Healthcare Executives group, and then there's the DFW chapter of that. Make sure that you join those, follow them, engage with them, and then do the amazing things that Daffodil and Deborah have done. Updating your profile, sharing your authentic voice through COVID. Now is the time. And, as Daffodil mentioned, you have an amazing platform, with 7.2 million healthcare members right at your fingertips to tell your story to. So make sure you embrace that.
That's great. Thank you. All right. So I had homework for each of you who were watching. And the ask was to post a picture of today's event, post a comment, and issue a hashtag with it. That is NALHE DFW and hashtag healthcare. So I know that many of you were getting those posts in, and I wanted you to know that we have selected a winner for today. And that winner, drum roll. All right. That winner is going to be Angela Vincent Michael. Is going to win a premium membership. Thank you, Angela, for your post. And we do have more memberships to give away, but I'm going to issue a tag-along, which is our survey that we have that's coming out. If we can bring that link up. We have a survey for you to fill out that will provide us with feedback on today's session, as well as information about how you're interested in getting involved with NALHE and NALHE DFW, and how you want to either get exposure via profile, speaker engagements. What are you open to? This is your chance to build your network, build your brand. And NALHE DFW, NALHE National, we are here to help you do that. And LinkedIn, I just want to say thank you, Haley. Thank you for being a partner in this journey with us. We are so excited to have your partnership and your support, both you as an individual and LinkedIn as an organization. We thank you. All right. So you see the link for how to participate in filling out that survey. Be sure to post, and we will be issuing who the awardees are tomorrow. So make sure you follow NALHE DFW so that you can see if you have won a free LinkedIn Premium membership.
You're muted, Lori.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us in our first LinkedIn Live session. What a fantastic event we've had, and so much more we want to do as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month and the wonderful diversity of all of the different members of our organization. If you have not heard about NALHE, the National Association for Latino Healthcare Executives, I really want you to go in and definitely check that out. We do have the survey listed below. I will also post this so you guys can also see it there. Definitely fill it out, give us some feedback so we know how we can respond. And with that, I guess, thank you so much for joining us. Ciao.